for coming. Thank you at home for watching. It's the Christian View, where we take today's hot topics and we weigh them against the Word of God, because God does have a view. And you've heard me say for a few weeks now that the Christian View has been picked up. We're on radio every Tuesday at 2, and I hope you're listening, because the shows are absolutely awesome. Just listening to the shows, and it's All Nations Radio. And we just happen to have the host of All Nations Radio, Bishop Samuel McGill, on our panel today. So let's give him a big hand. Yes, we're so excited about him and what God's going to do with him and with the Christian View. It's so many opportunities there. But let's get on to our topic, because it's something that's very serious. You know, it used to be you would hear about parents backing over their children in driveways. You know, you'd hear that a lot. But now, Trudy, 10 to 20 times a year, we're hearing about people leaving their children in hot cars.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you think, what in the world could distract them to the point that they leave their child in a car to die?
You know, Jackie, I feel like today life is so fast-paced, loud, excessive, that our mental and physical systems are just on overload. So I love this analogy that I got from John Maxwell. He says, the reason a lion tamer enters the cage with the legs of the stool pointed towards the animal's face is because when the lion tries to focus on all the legs at once, it paralyzes him. And in the same way, our distraction divides our focus and leaves us ineffective. So I think that's what's happening. There's just, we're trying to juggle so many plates and be so many things to so many people, and it just divides our focus, and we're not effective anymore.
And I really hate, but the numbers are up to more like 39 to 40 a year now.
It's just unbelievable.
It is very sad, but I hate when the judgment comes for the parties involved. You can only imagine, because 54% of those left are actually forgotten. It's unintentional. I had this happen to a dear friend up in Virginia before I moved here, and it's just heart-wrenching to see how it destroys the family, and they have to live with that.
How did it happen? Do you know? Do you understand?
A change of routine. The
That's
mother usually took the child. This time the dad thought that he had dropped the child off, but I think probably got a phone call at the last minute. Who knows? I don't really recall the details, but to change of routine. So it's good to have systems in place to say, babysitter, if we don't come there by, in 20 minutes time, check on us, because it could be prevented. Now, the temperature of the inside of the car goes up very quickly, but if somebody was checking over your back, even your wife saying, a text, did everything go okay? Did the baby get dropped off? That would really help.
And it really, I can see, a lot of times people say, well, I can't see that happening. But I remember when I was working and I was in the school system as the principal, and my youngest daughter was going to my school, and I remember one morning, which she would always be, she was in the back seat, and I got to work, got my stuff, got out, I was on the BlackBerry then talking, and went into work, and then someone asked me where was Destiny. She was still in the car asleep, because she was sleeping. I was so busy getting out of the car, gathering my things, that I forgot she was in there. So it can happen to any of us, just a moment of being distracted just that quickly, you can forget.
You know what? I read too, and I understand this. Yeah. Now they make you put your child in the car seat turned backwards.
Right.
Yeah. So you're not, when you're looking in your mirror, you're not seeing a child. You're seeing the back of a car seat. Yeah. Now, if that child is falling asleep back there and the routine changes,
yeah.
you forget it's there.
Sometimes you do.
But then they're also saying put things back there. Put your phone beside the car seat.
That's a good idea.
Put your pocketbook beside the car seat.
Yeah.
And now they developed, 2 men out of Florida developed a Sensa-Pad that you can actually put in the car seat to send a jingle off to remind you, kind of like when you leave
they
the
need
car
that, because
keys.
now like you got your backup cameras, so if your child's behind your car, it detects something's back there. So they need that.
My oldest daughter has 2 in it, and I know they have in the back of their car, there's a mirror. That when she's looking in the mirror, she can actually see the baby, that's facing the opposite direction. So, that's one other thing that you can put in there as a strategy.
Do you know anybody personally it's ever happened to?
I don't, but I think that, we're living in such a fast-paced society. I think, society in and of itself and the fast-paced movement is just a distraction in and of itself, and it's hard for people to sometimes be singleness of eye and stay focused, because so much is going on all at the same time.
It is.
I think we just need to meditate. And I had a friend, and she was like, just sit down and meditate. And I'm like, well, I don't have time to meditate. I got 50 minutes going on. Meditate, what? But I really realized it's just bringing the stillness to the mind and focus, and I think that's the problem. We have so much going on.
Be still and know that I am God.
Because sometimes it is an accident, outright accident. accident, and then sometimes it's just because we don't have our heart in the right place.
Yes.
It's a heart issue a lot of times, you know, that we get distracted away from our first priority, which is God. Next is our family.
Yes.
We get our thoughts on everything else, making money. We're busy. We're this. You know, our audience coordinator, she said to us before the show, I asked her, I said, "You've been busy?" She said, "I've been productive."
Yeah,
I
that's
love
good.
that.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
I have to give props to
Oh.
Janine today. But yeah, we need to be productive people,
like
not
that.
busy people.
Yes.
Yeah, because busy just implies stress. I gotta go. I
And
gotta
the
go.
word says don't strive. So
Yeah.
that's a good point. Slow down and
Exactly.
focus on what God has in front of you. Be present in the moment.
You know, it
Good
might be a
word.
lot of stress.
Yeah.
But think of the stress that comes the minute you realize your baby's out there in that car and it's done been 2 hours.
Wow.
And we're
Yes.
talking about the 54%, but 17% is actually intentional that people
Wow.
do that.
Oh, that's
And the
wow.
internal temperature of the car can go up to 180 degrees in less than
Real
20
fast,
minutes.
yes,
And
real
it doesn't have
fast.
to be but 80 degrees outside for it to happen, according to the
Yes.
research I did.
And people do it with pets.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. It's not just children. It can happen to
So
the
prevalent.
dogs. Oh my goodness.
Right.
And I'm a big one that take mine everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
And more and more, there's not time to respond by calling 911. I see people taking action by
They
damaging
are.
the car or whatever,
They
because
are.
the life is so much more important, whether it's the pet or the child.
That's right. Would you bust out a window of a car if you saw a child in the back seat?
If it wouldn't harm the baby, I mean, you know, if it was a,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You do what you have to do. Absolutely.
But then I did read about this one guy, and he was taking the kids to church by himself. He had like 5, and he thought that one of the kids
That
got
got
the
the other
baby out of the
child,
car seat, and they all run into their classes. And then later he wondered, where's my child at? Oh, gosh, it's just, imagine that. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about another fatal distraction. Stay with us.